everybody. How are y'all doing? Well, happy Tuesday to all my friends. Thank you all for being here, and I apologize for being late. I went downstairs, let the dogs out, and of course, one of them did not want to come back in. So I ran back upstairs as fast as I could get here so we could go live. Thank you all for being here. Let's put up our banner because we only have 2 days left for the month of April. And it is Autism Awareness Month today and tomorrow. So let's see who we have in the house. Let's see. Hello, Miss Kathy and Marina Girl. Hi, Rhonda. How are you doing? Hi, YouTuber. Hey, Blue Eyes. Miss Charlene. How are y'all? Hi, Teresa. Let's see. We got Lori. We got Miss Kathy. Who else? Brianna. How are you doing, Brianna's World? Hi, Reserve Glitchin'. How are you? Hey, Cheryl. And Heather. Who else we got up in here with us? L. Kennedy. Hello to you. And anybody else sneak in here? Let's see. Trying to go slow so I don't miss anybody. I want to make sure I say hi to everyone. All right. Well, I guess that. Hi, Holly S. There you are. Thanks for joining us. And hello, Susan Johnson. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Oh, L. Kennedy, I'm glad he did as well. We're glad to have you over here. Hey, Mona 13, how are you? Poppy Love. I love that name. Let's see. We have Lady for Justice. Hello, hello. Teresa, looky here, guys. If you were gifted one of the memberships that our Teresa gave out, please tell her thank you. That is so kind and gracious of you. Thank you for that. And we will welcome everyone here just a minute. Hello, Miss Peggy. How are you doing today? And do we have anybody else? There's Patty. There's Cool Gamer 2 and Monica Fox. Erna, how you doing? Glad to have you with us today. R. Taylor. We got Tiff. Hello. Anybody else sneak up in here? There's our Sky Maiden. How are you doing today? Welcome, welcome. Tell you what, excuse me, I am so proud to have you all with me today and every day. Hey, Bubble Beth, how are you doing? DJS, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Our Gemini 2, hello to you. Panda Bear's mom, hi. Yeah, these precious babies out here need so much of our prayers. Let's welcome our newest lollipops. Hello to everybody and welcome to the South.
Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. We got enough to go around. So can I get a right and get down? Welcome to
the South. Thank you so much, Teresa, for that. That is amazing. It is awesome to watch our community grow. I thank you all for helping with that. Okay, so guys, America's Most Wanted. I assume most of everybody's already seen it, but we're going to go over it. I have a couple of things I would like to say about that. I really do. So we're going to talk about that. Art Taylor, looky here. Oh, Art Taylor says, she's been a member for 4 months. Thank you, Art Taylor. And Lolly, you are awesome. Blessings and healings to you. Thank you so much for that. That is so sweet. Okay, Panda Bear's mom, I will check my email for sure. Thank you for that. And then we got a new member. Welcome, Roxy R, to the Lollipops. Thank you for being a member, guys. It is so fun to watch the channel grow, and I appreciate everyone so much. I would much rather be with y'all here than going out and finding a part-time job. So thank you. Y'all are helping me in a way that I don't know that I could ever express my gratitude for. Let's see here. Okay, so America's Most Wanted. To say I was disappointed would be a stretch. I was highly disappointed because I know it was allotted a certain time slot, a certain amount of time on it, but I do think more words could have been said, better words could have been said. But at the same time, I wasn't expecting a lot from the mom and the stepdad, so that really didn't surprise me that we didn't get a lot. Or did we? There was a few things that really stood out to me, and it was kind of like, oh my gosh. So we're going to talk about those few things. I'm going to play here in just a second. We're going to go over that, and I'm going to stop and talk about it so that, yeah, that's it, Holly. It was mainstream TV. I just thought there would be more about Sebastian. You know, they filmed his room, but yet they didn't show it. So, yeah, L. Kennedy, that's what I'm thinking too. I've heard it's a 3-part thing. So I'm kind of hoping for more, but we'll see. Oh, almost, didn't she, Teresa? Almost, she was so close. But it just didn't happen. Hey, Miss Janice, thank you for being here with us. Everybody that's here listening, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate everyone so much. Make sure to hit that thumbs up for us. If you don't mind, if you haven't become a member, we would love to have you. It just helps our channel so much. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe and join us. And then, you know, we have a great chat here. Jump in with your thoughts. We would love to have it. Yeah, MCause. We're going to speak about that in just a minute. Just a minute. And matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that because I want to make sure y'all have an image in your head that I have. And guys, I'm really not making fun of people, but I couldn't resist this one. Who seems to think he favored Fred Flintstone? Fred Flintstone. I couldn't help it. The hair, just the look. I couldn't get past Fred Flintstone. There's a few other things we're going to talk about. First, let's go ahead and get that playing. Let me get a banner up for copyright purposes because we will be using this under the Fair Use Act. So we can learn we can commentate, and we can make our comments known, because we all have the right to have our opinion. So here we go. Let me share this. All right, guys, here we go. I'm going to make this bigger so we can all see it, because there's a few things I'd like for y'all to actually see. There we go.
Good evening. I'm Harris Faulkner, and this is America's Most Wanted Missing Persons, a new show following the lead of the iconic true crime series. We have one mission: to bring missing loved ones home. Every person you'll see on the screen tonight has someone waiting for them: a parent, a child, a friend, a community that refuses to give up, and neither will we. We've assembled a team of experts who've dedicated their lives to solving cases and helping others. Derek Levasseur, you may know him from Big Brother, but he also has worked undercover with the FBI, DEA, and Secret Service. Elizabeth Smart, a survivor and advocate whose abduction recovery was made possible through America's Most Wanted. Payne Lindsay, whose investigative true crime podcast, Up and Vanish, has brought cold cases back into the national spotlight. And tonight's special guest, Callahan Walsh, a familiar face to America's Most Wanted. Callahan does incredible work with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Thank you so very much, everyone, for joining us. Let's get to our first case now. A missing child, Sebastian Rogers. On February 25th, 2024, Sebastian's mother said goodnight to her 15-year-old son. The next morning, Sebastian was gone.
Hey, missing juvenile. Be a white male, 3 blonde hair, approximately 5 foot, walking at turn down. I was going to be wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. Juvenile does have a form of autism.
Just walking around.
Sebastian is tall and skinny, has a contagious smile, loves video games, loves cats.
Boundless amounts of energy. Sebastian reminds me of a deer prancing through the woods, you know, enjoying the smell, the breeze, new things. That's my son.
Okay. He's tall and skinny, has a contagious smile. Then we have him as a deer prancing through the woods, walking around, smelling everything, looking at everything. That is a contrast, completely different way to explain a child. From the mother to the father. And it struck me here because to explain your child in a way that Seth explained him, it just kind of gives you a whole different meaning of who Sebastian really was. Her way to explain her son, tall and skinny. He's got a smile, contagious smile. I agree with that, both of those. But at the same time, you can hear the separation with Katie's description. She separates her emotional side and just gets technical when it comes to her son. Seth, on the other hand, tells us who Sebastian is, what his spirit is like, what his soul is like, what every ounce of that child is like. So I thought I would do that. Here we go.
February 25th, the day before Sebastian went missing, Chris was in Memphis at work. So Sebastian and I went to Texas Roadhouse. After dinner, right around 9 o'clock, we laid down. I heard a
Wait a minute. What? Let's just go back just a tad to make sure we're all hearing the same things here. Okay. We'll go back right here.
February
Here we go.
25th, the day before Sebastian went missing. Chris was in Memphis at work.
Well, let's get our priorities straight, folks. Let's make sure we get our priorities in order. Chris was in Memphis that day. Well, actually, that's another lie, or was what Mr. Chris told us a couple weeks ago the lie. It's always been he was in Memphis, but a couple weeks ago he said, here's one for you. I was not in Memphis. I was actually in Mississippi, where his trailer, his camper was. So did he forget to rewrite the script for Katie? Because right here just shows us her number one priority is making sure Chris has an alibi on national news.
So Sebastian and I went to Texas Roadhouse. After dinner, right around 9 o'clock, we laid down. I heard a noise in his room. I said, I don't care what you're doing, but you got to knock it off. You got to go to bed. And he answered, yes, ma'am.
So I want to know, did anyone hear we went to bed around 9 o'clock? Or did you hear he went to bed? I'll go back just a little bit so we can rehear that. Because I have a hard time making out whether she's saying he or we.
O'clock, we laid down.
We laid down.
I heard a noise in his room. I said, I don't care what you're doing, but you got to knock it off and you got to go to bed. And he answered, yes, ma'am. And I said, okay. And that was the last time that I spoke with Sebastian.
Yes, SL. We laid down. Guys, listen one more time. Some say they hear he. I say we. Let me get it right. Let's start right here. Listen close, folks.
At work. So Sebastian and I went to Texas Roadhouse. After dinner, right around 9 o'clock, we laid down. I heard a noise in his room. I said, I don't care what you're doing, but you got to knock it off and you got to go to bed. And he answered, yes, ma'am. And I said, okay. And that was the last time that I spoke with Sebastian.
Oh, what, Katie? It wasn't the last time you saw him? Katie? That was not the last time you saw him? Is that the last time you just spoke with him? Guys, that was the last time she spoke with him.
The next morning, when I went.
Okay. I'll rewind it. Y'all listen. She even pauses to gather her words to where they're at Texas Roadhouse. Right here. Listen close.
Right around 9 o'clock, we laid down. I heard a noise in his room. I said, I don't care what you're doing, but you got to knock it off and you got to go to bed. And he answered, yes, ma'am. And I said, okay. And that was the last time that I spoke with Sebastian.
The last time I spoke with Sebastian. Putting that distance between I spoke with my son. It's the last time I spoke with Sebastian.
The next morning, when I went in his room, he wasn't in his bed. After a minute or two, when I couldn't find him, I called Chris and I said, I can't find Sebastian. He's not.
A minute or two, and she knew her child was missing. That part has always bothered me. As a parent, we're going to start to get into a panic mode, confusion mode, what the hell's going on kind of mode, trying to figure out what's happening. It's going to take more than just 1 or 2 minutes, folks. I'm telling you. But just a few minutes. And she's calling saying he's gone. He's gone. Yeah, all the other details are left out. You know, we went to bed, or we laid down, and that was the last time she spoke to him.
Not in the house.
I got off of work and I had a text message from Sebastian's stepfather.
I said, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but Sebastian's missing.
Liar, 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 pants on fire. He doesn't want the whole nation to know that he actually said, don't be mad. But Sebastian is missing. Don't be mad is what he told Sebastian's father. But to tell everyone that from around the nation that's going to be listening to this, Mr. Chris has to tweak his story just a little bit so that he doesn't sound completely stupid.
I headed straight over to their house.
I started driving through the neighborhood. I was panicking. I was looking everywhere. Like, where is he? What happened? Did he go?
Oh, folks, look at her driving through that street that, you know, we have the picture of the door, the Ring camera. She's driving really slow with that cameraman in there. Like she should have done the morning that he was missing, instead of going barreling down that street and only taking 31 seconds to drive down this long street, make the turnaround and come all the way back up in 31 seconds. But here, she's doing it like what she should have done.
Go with someone? Did someone take him? By the time I pulled into the school, Christopher was already telling me to turn around because the authorities were on their way.
They used helicopters, they used drones, they used ATVs, horseback.
An extensive search didn't yield one significant lead or even a glimpse of the boy on any doorbell cam video. Days later, investigators combed through a landfill, still saying they had found nothing.
We have nothing. We just have speculations. We get criticized. The father gets criticized. Law enforcement's been criticized.
Online sleuths are.
Did y'all hear that? We have nothing. We have nothing. We don't have 2 flashlights walking around the back of our yard just hours before he went missing. We have nothing. He's trying his best to sell it, guys. It's insane.
Are really analyzing videos and creating their own theories.
Sebastian is putting something in his pocket.
Surveillance footage from a neighbor shows 2 people outside of Sebastian's house that night. Something happened.
Tonight marks 1 year since Sebastian Rogers disappeared near Beach High School in Sumner County.
My life is not the same without my son. He's not here, and he's somewhere. Someone has him.
This year has been
Hang tight, folks. Let's look a little bit. Seth seems to be sitting in his home.
And he's somewhere. Someone has him.
Katie and Chris seem to be, I don't know, probably in that Airbnb they rented so that they could not have any access to Sebastian's room.
This year has been the worst nightmare I could have imagined come alive.
Just wants whoever has him. Just
that look on his face. Look at that man. He's broken, y'all. He is broken.
give him back.
Give him
It's
back.
my son.
Wow, that dad. You can feel it. So we want to
Oh, but they didn't say nothing about the mama or the stepfather because there's no emotions there. But everyone, except for just a handful of people on the other side of the street, feels Seth's heartbreak. And they feel Katie being scripted. I agree, Reserve Glitchin. Reserve Glitchin said, Seth talks to the camera. He's talking to the guilty. Yes. My chair's squeaking.
Let's talk about theories now, Payne, and what might have happened with Sebastian. What are your thoughts?
I mean, here's his house. They searched miles outside of that neighborhood for days. Helicopters on the ground. They even drained a lake. He's nowhere. I don't think Sebastian would have gone outside on his own. There's someone else involved here. Somebody who was familiar to him, but a stranger to everyone else.
We also have to consider.
I say no. I don't think it's a stranger to everybody else because there's no evidence of that.
He could have left on his own volition. We know children on the autism spectrum tend to wander. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, nearly half of all children on the autism spectrum will go missing at some point from their environment.
Wow.
But I think something caused him to flee his home. Was that into the open arms of a predator? Or was there a roaming predator that just happened to see Sebastian walking down through the neighborhood?
And to me, one thing that stands out is his shoes. He always wore his shoes according to his mom.
Yeah. She shared a story that as a younger boy, he walked through.
Okay, I'm going to rewind this right here because I want y'all to rehear what Elizabeth Smart says here because they're talking about a story that we heard about Sebastian. So I'm going to rewind it just a tad. I want y'all to listen very close to what she starts out saying.
Shoes. He always wore his shoes according to his mom.
Yeah. She shared a story that as
the mother shared a story. The mother's going to share the story. Do we remember when Seth told that story and Katie came back and said, well, no, he goes outside without his shoes on all the time. That's not true. She has, yes, Blue Eyes, she has never shared that story. Why? 14 months later, is she going to take credit for the story that his father cared enough to tell us about, and she felt the need to correct it.
As a younger boy, he walked through a pile of dirt, turned out to be a bed of fire ants, and he had a thing about always wearing his socks and shoes.
Nope, that's not his mother, folks. His mother disputed that whole story. But here she's going to be that sympathetic parent because Seth's stories seem to touch people. Yes, Angela Hall, that was one of her many stories. Today made 6. 6 different versions of things she's had to say. 6. His dad told the story of the fire ants and said he would not leave home without his shoes. She disputed that and said he actually goes outside all the time without shoes. Folks, I'm not making this up. This is what they're telling them. I always thought eventually they'd get their story figured out. Lord have mercy. It just keeps getting worse.
I can't think that a 15-year-old child would get up in the middle of the night and leave without his shoes in February. It's cold. So for me, that says that someone has come and taken him, or someone else is involved. Someone knows something. And as easy as it is to be like, oh, that could never happen. Like, your bedroom is the safest place in the world. Well, no, bedrooms are not the safest place in the world. I was taken from my bedroom. It can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
So when you consider what you just said, Elizabeth, and according to Katie, that night, she goes to bed, he goes to bed, then around 10 p.m., there's a bump or a thud. She calls out to him. He says, I'm fine. Yes, ma'am. I'll stop moving. And then that's the end of it. And according to her, when she went to bed, the doors were locked. And when she woke up, the doors were locked. Were the windows locked? That's a big question. Were they secure? Because if they weren't,
they were all locked. All windows were locked. All windows were shut. They were checked. All doors were locked.
they weren't, could mean one of two things. That thud, him responding, was someone else in there with him.
Or someone was with him and going.
Exactly.
So I do want to.
In a roundabout way, I agree with the analyzing here of the thud. The thud, my folks, I'm afraid, is going to play a huge role in what actually happened that night. Because that thud, she was coerced by Nancy Grace to explain the noise she heard. One time, that woman has said the word thud. She avoids it like the plague. Whoever picked him up, did they possibly drop him, or did he drop before he was picked up and carried out? Yes, Mohawk. Yes. Katie debunked that as being a lie. Seth is the one that told us that story. Katie came back and said that is not true. And now she's taking credit because Seth actually says things that are truthful. And it's sad when you have to steal the truth from someone else.
I want to bring up this home security camera footage. This looks like foot traffic right in here.
Yeah, we look at the footage here. You can see subject number 1, allegedly, right? It looks like something that's illuminated, which, by the way, we haven't mentioned it yet. According to Katie, there was a flashlight that Sebastian liked using that was missing. So you consider that, it does look like 2 people.
But Katie didn't explain to him that it was a little gadget type of flashlight that you can get at conferences or, at flea markets or whatever, and that he fidgeted with it to the point it no longer worked, folks. That light would not have came from his little flashlight keychain thing. But she has to mention it because she knew there was flashlights behind her house that night.
Two people holding flashlights.
Yes. That paints a picture that is foul play.
Yes.
So I want to help the public now. We want to find Sebastian. What do you say to people, Elizabeth?
Did y'all hear him say that? Let me go back just a tad here. Let's see, because they're talking about the flashlights. Listen close to what he says, the Callahan. Listen to what he says.
Foul play.
Yes.
Here we go.
So I want to help the public now. We want to find Sebastian. What do you say to people?
Let's go back a little bit.
Foul play.
Okay, here we go. Well, it's not one to play.
Foul play.
Yes.
So I want to help the public
Foul
now.
play.
We want to find Sebastian. What do you say to people, Elizabeth?
First of all, to the 16-year-olds of the country, the high school age, really, if you know someone who looks like Sebastian, if you know something about Sebastian, tell your parents, call into the show, call the police, report it. This might be the break that we need. To the parents, if you have seen a 16-year-old boy that looks like Sebastian, do not be afraid to pick up the phone and call.
There is a $50,000 reward to help find him.
The reward is much, much higher, but they are going by the FBI money. I'm sure Katie and Chris downplayed any other amount of money being offered. That's just my guess.
Sebastian Rogers was about 5'5" when he was last seen, and he wears glasses. Sebastian is not comfortable with strangers.
If you're someone from this small town and you're in this neighborhood, check your cameras. There might be someone sitting on some doorbell cameras footage. I bet you he's in a small town in Tennessee.
Wow, that's an interesting theory.
But this isn't the most rural.
Folks, all the cameras have been checked. All the cameras have been recorded, and law enforcement has every single one. Therefore, they tell us there is no evidence. He is not seen on any camera in that neighborhood. And out of the 18 search dogs, his scent, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' scent, was never picked up.
Rural area in the world. We're not talking about out in the Rocky Mountains. This is a neighborhood
There's
where
a highway going this way.
There's high foot traffic everywhere, and still no sign of him.
Wow. Thank you to our team of
Hello,
experts.
Rita.
And you all know our purpose is to examine these cases and give people watching information so they can bring the missing home. And I want to thank.
All right, guys. So from there, I want to show a few things because there has been a lot of talk about a few different things in there. It was brought up about, to me, how Seth was just so sad. How Katie was just so blah. Tell me which one of these parents is grieving. Katie's eyes are not swollen up at all. Do you see the bags and the swelling to Seth's eyes? Folks, I lived with my eyes looking like that for close to 3 years. I used Preparation H to try to take some of the swelling down so I could actually open my eyes. Katie's eyes look all rested and fresh and wide open. I don't see any puffy under her eyes. I see nothing. These are the parents of Sebastian. You tell me which one actually knows where he is and is not worried about their child, and which one has no clue and is terrified and grieving and begging people to help him find his child. Katie should be ashamed of herself. She should be embarrassed. Because any grieving mother would not have eyes that look all bright and fresh. They also wouldn't have stole a story from the father just to turn it around to make it her own after she had downplayed it and debunked it. There was talk of the tattoo. Yes, Neuro, we have story number 6. This is the tattoo when the 1-year mark came along and Katie was on there doing an interview with her, just herself. We saw this. It's beside what looks to be a guitar, on the neck of the guitar, right at the very end of the guitar. With her arm being up, it would be on the inside of the left hand, the left arm of her, close to her wrist, I would say. This picture was the best picture I could get. You can see the guitar, but her wrist stays turned. So you can't see the heart. A lot of people said the heart wasn't there. But if you look back at this one, you will see that her arm is turned up. That is her left arm. So it would be on the inside of her wrist area. We cannot with this. This was the very best picture to get. And no matter how close I zoomed in, you just can't see it. And so I wanted to talk to y'all about all that because there's been a lot of talk about Katie's tattoo was missing. And folks, do you notice there's a baseball glove there? There's this crane. There's a little excavator thing. When have we heard about Sebastian playing baseball? No, YouTuber, it was not. She had recently gotten it. But I've never heard any mention about Sebastian liking to play baseball. I have heard that this is an Airbnb that they paid for to meet the people there in Goodlettsville, away from their home. They didn't want to film where Sebastian went missing from. It's not like we don't know where they live. Everybody knows where they live. I do too, YouTuber. I wonder what the guitar symbolizes, but I'm not sure. But yeah, the little crane and the little excavator thing. God, the crane's Mr. Chris's, I'm sure. The excavator toy thing could have possibly been Sebastian, but a baseball glove? I've not heard about Sebastian loving to play baseball, and I'm pretty sure Mr. Chris has never been seen playing baseball with Sebastian. But hey, whatever they gotta do to make themselves look good. Yeah, exactly. They didn't want anything to be recognized inside their home. why are you going to pay for an Airbnb to go to a whole different city when he went missing from your home? But then again, they did want to film in Sebastian's bedroom at his father's house. So I guess Kate and Chris got a little nervous. They didn't want that to happen. So they rented an Airbnb to film in. Folks, it's totally crazy. And remember, this is the mother that speaks up on the 1-year anniversary. And her words were, Sebastian also missed his birthday, December 7th. He would have. And she paused. He would have. I have questions, so many questions. What is it that Katie knows? Why another story is she going to tell? How many times do we have to sit here and listen to her tell a story? And it turns out to be, this time, creating an alibi for her husband first and foremost. But we know on Sunday he was not in Memphis. We know that. There was no work on that Sunday. Mr. Chris finally comes out and says, hey, I wasn't in Memphis. I was actually in Mississippi. You know, where his camper would be at. But hey, let's make sure the whole world knows my husband was at work in Memphis. They can't get their story straight. The whole time Mr. Chris was saying what he said to Seth, his head was going, no. I can't wait for the deception detective to tear that all to pieces. And the worst part of it all, if people come onto YouTube to get into Sebastian's case and to hear everything that's going on, they're going to hear this father, this broken father. They're going to find out he was staying with his mother, living there in her home there. And they're going to be the ones to think, oh, well, she knew him the most. She knew he stepped in an ant bed and he didn't want to go without shoes anymore. They're going to hear a stepfather that says, I don't know how to tell you this because he was so concerned, right? When in all actuality, he said, first and foremost, don't be mad. Why is a parent going to be mad because their child's missing? Your first and number one is going to be panic, worry, fear. The anger part would come later. But Mr. Chris wanted to make sure to state that the very first thing out of his mouth when Seth answered his phone, or when he answered the phone call from Seth. Don't be mad. But he has to not be able to tell that version to all the new people that's going to be listening. Let's paint ourselves as a good parents. You know, and it's crazy to me. One other thing. How many times do they have to look different? Especially Mr. Chris. Why does he change so much? crazy. Yes, don't be mad. It reeks of guilt. Yes, it does. Well, hello, Bulldog Mama. Thanks for being here. Thank you all for coming in and being here. Yeah, I respect Derek. I like Derek Levias. I like him so much. I've been listening to him for a while. He does analyze things. And it's aggravating because, guys, we spend every day on Sebastian. We know details. We have been pursuing this for so long now. It's like memory. You know, we got it memorized. They don't have all those little details. They have the overview picture of everything. And the sad part is they were told a story by the mother about the fire ants. She said they were given false information. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Yeah, Bubble Beth, you know, just like the last one that came out, I feel like they need to know. All these places need to know exactly who these people are and what they're saying. America's Most Wanted would have a field day if they heard Mr. Chris ranting on Clue's channel attacking another creator. They would be highly disappointed to find out that he said, "You can all go start a shotgun." That's the man they just had on panel. That's the man they just interviewed. Oh, he is. I believe Addis. I believe both of them have a weight lifted off of their shoulder, not having Sebastian around. And I believe Katie made the choice. The choice Mr. Chris gave her on the front yard of their home that the neighbor heard, the yelling and the screaming, and it's him or it's me. What more can people do? Oh, Brianna's World, thank you so much. She says, thank you, Lolly, for all that you do for Sebastian. You know, it's a desire. I want to know what happened to this child. I want him found. And I can't stop. But thank you, Brianna. He's so cute. That was so sweet of you. I appreciate you. Folks, this young man didn't seem to have any chance living in the house where he was. We're here telling this story as much as we possibly can. I would have much rather had a whole conversation go like this. His mother and father, their face, their grief, you could see it. It says everything that everybody expects, you know, the heartache, the grief. But it's because of the words Katie and Chris uses that we cannot just sit here and have that conversation. We cannot sit here and say, well, you know, these are grieving parents. I bet everyone would be shocked to find out Katie has yet to speak to Seth since day one. She barely spoke to him when he arrived at her house. She's not spoken to him since. And yet, we're supposed to believe Seth is a bad person? Guilty people do that. People who are guilty and trying to hide it, they avoid things a lot. The mother didn't speak out for 8 months. And it wasn't until she had a criminal defense lawyer sitting beside her at an interview that she came out at the 1 year mark. There's parents everywhere around this world that have missing children that are out there speaking constantly. They've been missing for years and they're still talking. They're still saying things. And just like Deception Detective yesterday said, Karen Harmon's real mother put up a billboard with a personal message to her child. I'm not going to stop looking for you. I love you, Mama. Katie's wanting billboards taken down of her child. Mr. Chris wants them all taken down. Who cares what they say on top? They're going to see his face. They're going to see missing. They're going to see the number to call. They're going to see all of the information. That's what matters. And just because you read your own words that you've spoken, you're going to be pissed off because your child has a billboard up? It's the most billboards for Sebastian up around the United States right now. The most out of the whole time he's been missing. But, the mom don't even want to buy, cups with his name on them and pass them out to different places. They don't want to draw attention to themselves. Just not going to happen. I want so bad to get the Deception Detective deck of cards that he has, the deck, because I would like to do a checkoff list when it comes to Sebastian's mother. I bet he just has a field day with that one. But people who lie, people who can't tell the same story 2 times, I'm not even talking just in a row. I'm talking 2 times over a year span. You can't tell the same story twice. When the truth never changes, your story should never change. But yet we see a mother and a stepfather who adapt their stories according to criticism. And we only criticize because of their words. Their words are what have gotten us this far with questioning, are they guilty? Did they do something? Were they involved? Who else was involved? That kind of thing. It's their words that led us straight to them. I don't want to accuse the mother. Not when her child's missing. It's the very last thing I would like to do. But when that mother says something new and different every time she speaks up, on this last interview that we just listened to, I questioned, did she just tell us something? Because she says she heard a noise. She said, whatever you're doing, cut it out. He said, okay, good night, go to bed, whatever. And she pauses and says, that was the last time. And she sat there for a minute and said that actually spoke to Sebastian. The last time she spoke to him. So my question to Katie from her interview with America's Most Wanted would be, did you see him after that, Katie? Could he not speak after that, Katie? You know, most of us would have said, that was the last time I spoke to my son. That was the last time I saw my son. Katie, Sebastian's mother, says that was the last time I spoke to Sebastian. It was as if she had to pause and put up that barrier between herself and her emotions. And when you do something like that, the name will identify him. So you don't have to use the word son. Folks, it's crazy. Exactly, Mohawk. She said, my question to Chris would be, were you allowed to be near Sebastian? A man who works at a job out of town, a 3-hour drive. They say it's not possible to just drive that drive every single day. I say bullshit because my husband did that. He took a job in the office and got off of the boat, and he drove home every day after work so that he could be there to put our kids to bed. He would be gone before they woke up the next morning. We lived that life for 3 years. It's possible. They make it out like they are the only couple that has ever lived that way. Nope. They're not. And once again, the story became more about Katie and Chris. It always goes that way with those two. Always. The mother made her choice. And it is very clear the choice she made when she spoke up and said Chris was in Memphis working. Let's make sure we put that out there first and foremost so that his alibi can be sound and tight. She made her choice. Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. My little Emmy came to say hello, everybody. Her come to say hello. Katie chose her husband over her child. Okay, I got it.
I'll be.
Take the dogs out for me.
What time do I come up here for the?
I'll holler at you. It's about 5:30. Okay. We have ball games tonight, guys. She made her choice, and she made it very plain and very clear on national TV. She could have played that into her story at another time. People were here listening to hear about Sebastian, and she made it her priority to say Chris was at work in Memphis. She made that number one first off before ever saying anything about Sebastian in that night. She could have said, Sebastian and I had been out that day. Chris was, at work in Memphis. Nope. Let's make sure we put it first and foremost. My husband was at work in Memphis. Made me want to just go through the screen and just bop her in the nose. Yeah, the whole thing, I think, Alicia, I was a little disappointed, but at the same time, Katie and Chris didn't disappoint at all. He didn't. Another version, story number 6 is out there. Katie has taken Seth's words, his story he told, the same story she debunked, and she put it out as her own because she's the good mother. She would be the one to remember that, right? The mom would. Not this time. Yeah, exactly. There's no proof he was in Memphis, just his job location. And he said over there on Clues that night, just a couple weeks ago when he was having his rant, here's a new one for you folks. I wasn't in Memphis. I was in Mississippi at the whatever campground, he said. Does he even know where he was? Have they told so many lies that they can't remember which lie is supposed to be the truth? That's the funny part, because the truth never changes. And therefore, you don't have to remember what you're not supposed to say. You just tell the truth. Yeah, Sebastian with his cat, right? I'm telling you, folks, description between the two parents was night and day. Katie's going to put out there that, he's tall, skinny, and has a contagious smile. Okay, we can see that with our own eyes from his pictures. Seth gives us a whole different perspective. He's like a deer walking through the woods, smelling, seeing, just on an adventure. He did, but I don't know if there's any more of the interview coming up. L. Kennedy, I don't know for sure that they're going to talk more about Sebastian or not. It's supposedly a 3-part thing, but I don't know. Oh, thank you. Yeah, her so tiny. Yesterday, before I left to go to the ballpark, my youngest granddaughter was going to go with me, and we couldn't find her. She wasn't in her cage with her brother, with her 2 sisters, and Mama had came out, and we couldn't find her anywhere. And we're moving stuff around. Well, my daughter-in-law had put down a big, thick, cushy comforter, just a big, thick one, and they have a dog that has really bad arthritis in her hips. And so they put that down there for her on top of her orthopedic bed. And I was like, everybody be careful where you walk. We're looking for this little one here. And I pick up that blanket and I start kind of shaking it as I'm pulling it up a little higher. All of a sudden she goes rolling out. Oh, Emmy. I call her little Emmy. I don't even know how to spell it. I just thought her looked so cute. Her just looks so cute. But I'll probably end up with her, y'all. I don't need her, but I'll probably end up with her just because we're cuddle buddies. Yeah, puppy in a blanket, exactly. She just rolled out. Everybody's walking real careful. I'm trying to look for her. Yeah, had to put a bolo out on little Emmy. Her so sweet. But guys, I'm glad y'all were here with me today, and I'm glad we could go over this. And like I said, I had things I wanted to say because there were some things that just stood out and that just irritated the crap out of me. Sebastian's missing. And his mother and his stepfather are still playing a game with that child's life. They don't let them come into their home where Sebastian lived to interview them. They rent an Airbnb in another town. I'm telling you, folks, I knew there was a radar thing. We heard it the other day that they can look into the walls, but that whole place needs to be stripped down. It really does. Even the investigators talking said the lights, they're big. That's big. It points to foul play. Okay, Blue Eyes. I'm not sure. Yeah. I honestly believe because we've heard there's been new carpet put in there. We've heard they hired somebody to come in, or Katie cleaned with all kinds of chemicals. It's just insane because Sebastian's missing. But it makes sense because they say he ran away. So go out there, go look over there outside away from my house. Let me have a little more time to clean up. It's crazy. And you see his father completely broken. The look he gave to the camera, he wants his son back. He's through playing these games. I believe that, Chrissy. They covered up everything. The one thing they couldn't cover up were the flashlights in their backyard. And guys, I'm telling you, I have a gut feeling that's going to be huge when this goes to court. Yeah, Alicia, Big Daddy Bear Socks over there, he got picked up for certain types of cleaning chemicals, the kind that go in rugs. Yeah. They have access to everything they need. They have enough friends and families and, associates that they're making everybody's life around them that's trying to find Sebastian a living hell. Oh, El Kennedy, I don't know. I think he's going to continue till his last breath to say those are trash truck lights. Because he's never wrong, y'all. He's never wrong, right? All he has to do is say something, and we can prove him lying. Yes, Alicia, I agree with you. Mr. Chris is so confident Sebastian's not being found, and he will be out speaking all he wants to. He's starting to feel entitled, confident. I say let him speak. Let him feel that way. Because every time he speaks, we can tear it down. He said so much already that all we have to do is go play the words he said about that before. Because they never tell the same story. I agree, Reserve Glitchin. I'm not understanding it. I really am not. Yep. His wife vouched for him on national TV. But we've also proven her words to be a lie as well. And if anybody comes in to YouTube and looking or anything, I'm going to do my damnedest to show it. People need to know who they really are. Oh, he will soon. Somebody's going to piss him off. Somebody will piss him off. It don't take much. Does not take much. I will say this. I had a message sent to me, and I'm going to read it to you. I'll kind of show it to you if I can. Let me see if I can find it again. I was going to load it and I forgot all about it. But there was some chatting going on in one of the other channels. And let's see where it is. It was very interesting. Or this was in my chat yesterday. I didn't even catch it. But it was said that Truth, Elevated Truth, okay, in Clue's chat was saying the judge is in her family. Then she turned to Cletus and whispered, he doxed me. Cletus said it was him who had the judge in the family. They got connections everywhere you go, folks. So is the judge related to Cletus? Is the judge related to Clue? Could the judge be related to Clue's ex's brother, cousin? Because we know that's Melissa Proudfoot's husband's family member. So, yeah. But then again, it is so hard to believe what they say over there. She will. She proved to us, Narita, yes. Katie proved to us in this interview, she's going to stand up and cover for Chris because she did it on national TV first and foremost before she ever talked about her son. She spoke the words. He was in Memphis at work. She set that narrative. She put it there before her son, and the story was actually about her son. But she clarified it for the whole world to see. C-Star, a couple weeks ago on Clue's channel, he said, here's one for you. I was not in Memphis that weekend. I was actually in Mississippi at the campground. So who to believe? Which one to believe? What story do we believe? Yes. Look what she did for that family. Talking about KP. On December 27th, 2023, she filmed Nina. Justin, I'm so glad you take us to the shower with you. I feel so close to you, Justin. Yeah, these people play a game. It's what they do. Every day we go take a shower with Justin. Little Emmy, close your eyes. Yes, she is always, I believe, she has always chosen Chris over Sebastian every single time. And if I'm not mistaken, there's some CPS reports out there that prove that. Oh, and if anybody hears this from the other side, because this has already been put out there, that Justin has the CPS reports. Guys, these people are insane. Justin's always clean and looking handsome. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I needed that little puff there. Yes, he did. You're right, Elaine. Derek did say the other night that he had more to say about this case after the show was on. So he does have a podcast that he does, and he has talked about Sebastian before. He knows more information on this. Yeah, Neuro. Don't believe anything they say. Look at this little girl. She just likes to sleep like this. And her little ears are starting to open up a little bit. She's getting so big. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, Mohawk Mom, exactly. She picked Chris over Sebastian when she got rid of his cats. Mm-hmm. And it hadn't changed. Nothing has changed in all these years. None. Thank you, YouTuber. Her so cute. But that's what it is. These are the people we're talking about. Rose, we've all heard, at a poker game. They're in the town. Katie and Sebastian were there. We heard Mr. Chris was. Yes, I think he would have said a whole lot more if there had been more time, but he was with the panel and he was trying to just state little narratives here and there. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's so cute. Her little spot here. We have one that her little butt right on above her tail, about so far above her tail, she's got a white diamond there. I'm just in love with this one. I think it's because she looks like her mama so much. But I do believe, guys, that the more we say this, the more we bring it out, the more we call out their lies, they're contradicting themselves, all these little things. We're not going real life on them. We're saying the words they've said. We're proving they have said something different before. Completely different. And therefore, by doing that, it shows their character, shows who they really are. Because no one would lie when it comes to a missing child. Why would you lie? if you had nothing to do with it. If you're not protecting someone, you wouldn't lie. These are proven facts. You taking her back?
Yeah.
Oh, widow Emmy. Let me tell her bye, guys. Say bye-bye. Yeah. Her so sweet. Look at her. She just sits there sound asleep. Okay. Thank you for bringing her to me. I'll be off in just a little bit.
And
Okay.
I can't go to the dog park, Daddy, so I have to go with them.
Yeah, but you're going to sister's thing. That'll be good.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to.
I know. I'll talk to you in just a minute, okay? All righty. So it continues. Emmy she was 1 week old Friday. So she's not even 2 weeks. She's what, 12 days old? Yes, sunset gazing. Chris did say that. What if this thing goes south? What if it goes to a jury? You know, what if it, he said so much. Yeah, Emmy did. You know, the cornbread mafia is not a real group that's out there. There at one time, years and years and years ago, just talk of a cornbread mafia, but it's basically cartel stuff. It is gangs out there, that kind of stuff. Sebastian's missing, guys. Still missing. No idea where that child is, but people know. The people that are avoiding his father know. They know something. Katie knows something. She was in the home with that young man, Sebastian. She was there with him. When he went missing, she was there. It didn't, I don't think it did, Sky Maiden, but it may have given awareness to his case. I believe that too, Erna. There's something with that home. Something with that home. Because they won't let people come in and interview them from their comforts of their own home. You're going to rent an Airbnb in a whole nother town to avoid letting them come into your house? It speaks volumes, folks. Their actions, their lack of actions, all the different versions of their stories of what has happened. Yeah. I'm telling you, it was so fake, it was ridiculous. But see, people that are watching about Sebastian's case for the first time will not know that his mother and stepfather rented an Airbnb in another town to do the interview about him, while his father sat in his home, even gave them access to his bedroom. Sebastian didn't have a bedroom in that Airbnb. And when did Sebastian play baseball? Why are you going to use a baseball glove for a prop? Sebastian was not an outdoor kind of kid. He didn't like to get dirty. You get dirty when you play ball. Yeah, he didn't even stand in that home. Ugh. I'm telling you, folks, I'm afraid it's going to get worse before it gets better. And we're just going to be here talking about it. Because, yes, Chris brought his toys with him. Yep, sunset gazing. He did. He let them in there. They filmed in Sebastian's room and everything. Yeah, bring the crane. I mean, because this was about them, right? Not about Sebastian. It's about them. So let's remind everybody, Mr. Chris works on a crane. It's a subliminal messaging, okay? We got to make sure we all understand that. It's crazy. That's what it is. Complete craziness. Oh, the crane, the crane, the crane. Yep. And Katie was driving so slow in that video we watched. Katie was driving very cautious, like kind of like a mother would do if they were looking for their child. Unlike what Katie did the morning her child was actually missing. When she drove down that long road, made the little circle, and drove all the way back up in 31 seconds, folks. She was not there to look for Sebastian. 31 seconds. You're not going to see in between houses. You're not going to see under all the trees or behind all the trees. And you sure as heck ain't going to be able to holler for him with your windows up. Hey, just me. But on the TV program, America's Most Wanted, she was taking her time driving down that road. It just makes you want to poke her eyeballs or something. It's not right. Sebastian deserves way better. Way better. Yes, just me. I did hear about the guy in the tree. Y'all, there's a guy in San Antonio, and he was running from the cops, and he's up a tree now. I don't know if they got him out or not. But yeah, he ran up a tree. So they were all like, come down, trying to negotiate to get him out of a tree. Yeah, Ruby Franks. Exactly, Scotty Too Hottie. This woman is on story number 6. He is still there, just me. That is so funny. That is hilarious. He's still in the tree. I don't know, y'all. Story number 6. She was the one that told them that she recalled him not liking to go without his shoes because he stepped in what he thought was dirt, but it was a fire ant mound. When in all reality, in the world of truth, Sebastian's father told that story, and his mother did her best to debunk it as being a lie. That's not real. It's not how that worked. He goes without shoes all the time. You can't make this stuff up, folks. You really, really, really can't. But I need to get my shoes on, grab the little one. We're going to head out. Got 2 games tonight again. And I got to go do my cheering. But I thank you all for being here. I thank y'all for listening and going over these things with me, because a lot of it stood out to me. It was only like, what, 11 minutes, 9 minutes, something like that, 9 to 11 minutes. It wasn't long, but there was so much packed into it. So much packed into it. I can't believe Katie stole the story away from Seth to make it her own when she debunked it when it first got told. Mr. Chris portrays himself as a perfect stepfather. I don't know how to really tell you this, but Sebastian's missing. When in all reality, his words were, "Don't be mad. Sebastian's missing." Man, they make it all about them because they have to look good. But just remember, folks, if you're guilty, nothing is going to make you look good. You're going to continue to dig a hole for yourself, deeper and deeper and deeper every time you try to make yourself look good. And we all got shovels. We'll help you dig. So guys, until next time, I thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for great conversation and chat. I just love each and every day coming on here with you guys. Y'all are amazing. Continue to stay strong. Remember, we're here for Sebastian. And if it doesn't pertain to helping Sebastian and getting down to the truth of what really happened to Sebastian, don't waste your breath with them. Don't waste your time. We got better things to do. We got a kid to find. So until tomorrow, love and hugs, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye.